goodness. Our biggest capacity crowd ever, boys. Our biggest capacity crowd ever. Welcome. Welcome, capacity crowd. Oh, they're so well behaved as well.
That's the biggest crowd we've ever had here.
I think it is, yes. Welcome. And I think potentially the noisiest to keep warm as well.
Some have snuck in without paying.
Yeah. Do all of you pay?
No. Oh,
Nobody?
Oh,
my goodness.
A couple over the wall.
Let's do the official intro, shall we? Hello, welcome to this week's Life's a Pitch TV. I'm Mark Murphy, and I'll introduce you to the team in a moment or two. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on podcast, you are most welcome. And a big shout out to our sponsors that make this happen for us every week. Our main sponsor is DPS Tech. Our associate sponsors are All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Venue 16, Fred Olsen Logistics, John Keeble Cars in Bramford, the Dove in Ipswich, and the sponsor is now also, or so far rather, is also sponsored by DPS Tech as well. We will have a little sign for them here at some point in the future.
Well, a big sign because there's a big sofa.
It is a very big sofa, yes. So they sponsor the sofa. There is still room for sponsorship opportunities. There are still a few things here that aren't bolted down, so we are always looking for more opportunities.
There's the ball,
the ultimate
the
ball,
statue,
the statue,
the glass,
yeah,
everything, yeah.
Phil's hat,
yeah,
his haircut,
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? I'm going to have a big sort
Let
of
me introduce you to the
sponsor across
teams. Terry Butcher, Russell Osman, Phil from twtd.co.uk. Our technicals is Richard, John and Mark, and Leslie is our floor manager. And you are indeed our capacity crowd tonight. We have a special guest. Would you please give it up for the one and only Simon Milton?
Simon Milton is one of our own. He's one of our own. He's one of our own. Simon Milton, he's one of our own.
Thank you. Thank you
Do you
for
get that sung at you when you go to the shops?
Well, listen, it's been a long time since anybody sung about me, Mark, so I'll take that. I'll take that intro.
Well, you're looking very tanned. Have you been away somewhere warm?
I have been away somewhere warm, which means it's cold here at the moment. Yeah, just had a 10-day break. Been cruising, actually, which, yeah, I really enjoyed, actually. Really enjoyed.
First time?
First time for a long while, and it's the first time I've done the sort of Caribbean islands. And
No, it's the first time. The first time you enjoyed it.
No, I always enjoy myself. But you know me, I always enjoy myself. But no, loved it. Absolutely loved getting away this time of year as well.
No, it's always nice, isn't it? Now, you've got your trainers on because we do have our Keep-It-Up Challenge board. I know you watched the show. You were looking at the leaderboard earlier, and Scoey is still at the top. Your old mucker, 79.
I know, that's...
And he got bored and gave up.
Well, listen, there's only one name I'm looking at beating, and that's Phil Ham. I've looked at that.
There,
if I can't beat Phil Ham, right, that's it.
Terry didn't.
It's over. And Mark, not you, the other Mark, has been texting me all afternoon. Don't forget your trainers. Don't forget your trainers. So, yeah.
We're looking forward to doing that a little bit later on. You're really busy at the moment, aren't you, doing all sorts of things?
Yes, it's nice to be back involved at the club. You know, and the way the club has gone recently in the last couple of years has just been amazing. So I'm really enjoying being involved back at the club on a match day. And then my full-time job, as you know, is running a charity. So I'm just booking. I'm back to Ghana on the 1st of March. So I'll go out for about 14 days and come back just before the ex-players dinner, which we have every single year.
Which is a great night for those who can get a ticket for it. Which is
well, and it's becoming more and more popular. Inducting people into the Hall of Fame, you know. Who
are you inducting this year?
Well, we can't tell you that, obviously, can we?
It
was a good try, though.
We want to know.
Mark, it's not you.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not Phil.
Yeah, there should
But
definitely be a journalist section.
My biggest claim to fame was I got a vote for Player of the Year once.
Did you?
I did, yeah. Somebody thought I was the other Murphy, Darryl. And I actually got a vote for Player of the Year. I got one vote. Mark Murphy. So.
Well done.
I think Darryl's coming to a game soon. I've just been speaking to him in the last couple of weeks, just before I went away. Wants to come back, wants to bring one of his boys over. So, and that's been really nice, getting people to come back, you know, over who've not been for a while. Shane Supple's coming, you know, to a game in a couple of weeks' time. And getting people like that to being able to come, going around the lounges with them, going to see supporters, you know, they've obviously had a good time here at the football club, so it's really nice to welcome these people.
Dale might get a game, mightn't he?
Huh? Murph.
Oh, again, we need
he's
somebody of his stature.
Bring your
at the
boots,
moment.
bring your boots there, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure how old he is now. What would he be? Early 40s?
Stato Phil will tell us in a second or two.
Yeah.
He's just frantically Googling
I
that on
expected
his,
that to be
on
like
his
that,
laptop
to be
there.
He's
pretty
40,
instant.
actually. He's 40, yeah. So he's 41 on the 15th of March this year.
6 months in it.
Yeah.
I knew he'd know.
Much.
But they're pleased to come back now because there's plenty to see and entertain them. It hasn't been like that for a while, has it?
No, absolutely. And you're going round, the guys will know. I can remember walking around some of the lounges and they're probably 30, 40% full. And now they're 100% full. And people are, more than welcome to come up and meet the guys and ask questions. And, going around to all the different lounges is just something different that we do. And then before the game, we got players going into the fan zone. And then we've got a halftime interview that players are involved in. And then you've got the guys who are going to do the co-commentary. And then you've got the people who are on Town TV. So at any one particular day, there could be sort of, up to 10 players who are, doing something for the football club on a match day, which they're really enjoying.
Yeah, well, it's great to see. It really is. We've got lots to talk to you about during the course of the show this week, but it is time to take a look at the season so far, sponsored by the Dove in Ipswich. And we were looking ahead to the Sunderland match, Phil, last time we were all here with Marcus Stewart. Who saw the Marcus Stewart show? Yeah. He was fantastic, wasn't he? I sent him a picture of my fridge magnets. And they're not a patch on his, I tell you. Not a patch on his.
You are very sad, though, aren't you?
I know.
Fridge magnets.
Yes, let's talk about Sunderland instead, shall we?
Yeah, yes,
Don't
please.
you collect them?
No.
Oh, right, okay. If anybody would like to send it in for Terry Butcher, then I can always pass
Is
it
there a
on.
magazine? You should start a magazine up.
What?
Fridge magnets.
Fridge magnet collecting.
Yeah. You could be the
Well,
star
Darren
man.
Ambrose was on telly the other day with his Lego, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I've seen that. That's a bit sad as well.
That was embarrassing, that wasn't it? The Lego.
Do you not collect anything then, Butch? Apart from England caps?
Yeah, yellow cards.
No, yellow cards. Yeah. You're having a go at me tonight, I tell you.
2-0 so far.
I'll see you in the car park, yeah.
Sunderland match. What a game, wasn't it? Fantastic. What a game. Take us through the match, Phil.
Well, yes, it's another sort of, come from behind win. We've made a habit of it this season, haven't we? It was only from 1 down this time. But, I think at the end of the day, I think we thoroughly deserved to win. I think maybe 1 or 2 bits of a bit of nervousness around the ground when Jack Clark put them ahead because he'd had a couple of chances earlier on. But then Caden Jackson scored his goal and I think we grew into it. I think because obviously we had this sort of unfamiliar central midfield, didn't we, that hadn't played together before with Lewis Travis and in particular because obviously he's only just signed. But I think they kind of grew into it, and gradually by the end of the first half, you thought, well, we're quite in control here. And in the second half, really, it looked like only one winner, apart from when they missed the one of the worst misses that Portman Road's ever seen. But really, I think we deserve more than perhaps another goal in the second half. But then the smallest man on the pitch pops up, nods home. What a terrific header.
We talked about that. He was our very first guest on Life's to Pitch TV at the beginning of the season, and he talked about being in the box and people ignoring him because he is so small and they don't think he's going to do anything. But it was a bullet header, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, he's a bit like Phil. He's very, very small. So, I mean...
as incidentally, Kieran McKenna made reference to this in his post-match press conference because someone said, 5'6", how did he kind of win? And Kieran said, I think he's 5'7". He said, I'm sure Phil will stand up for the little guys here. Which was, thanks,
we try
Kieran.
and ignore Phil as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
but yes, as you say, he kind of everyone moves around him, and he just sort of stands still, doesn't he, and just waits for his moment, and then makes the.
We don't. I mean, normally you would pick up a big man, and all the big men do. Yeah. But he's just there, and the movement they have, the understanding that they have, and the delivery that they have is spot on. So Town have scored so many goals from that sort of routine, and if it's not Connor Chaplin, it's Wes Burns on the other side, on the right hand side. So. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you just carry on doing it. If teams are going to be so naive, it's
Set
great.
pieces are very good, aren't they?
They work on it, you can tell, can't you?
If the delivery is right and the movement of the players and the timing of the runs right, and then it's just down to the finish, and we've got players that can finish, and Connor's a classic for that.
And unusual to see a headed goal these days. We talked about this the other week. There aren't so many these days, but he took it so well, didn't he?
I missed the game. I was sorry about
Cruising?
that. I was in the middle of the
Yeah.
Caribbean, but somebody had to. And he couldn't get Sky there. But I've obviously seen the goals. Really pleased for Caden Jackson. Because he's had to take on this mantle, and sometimes he gets a little bit of stick, which I think is undeserved, because he gives everything every
100%,
time.
isn't he?
Absolutely gives everything. So really pleased to see his finish.
100% what?
Effort.
100% good, 100% average, 100% effort.
You can't fault his work rate.
So
No, you can't.
And the manager gives him the shirt, and all he can do is go out there and do his best. So I was pleased that he got the goal. But yeah, Chaplin's goal's a great goal, isn't it? I mean, but the pace is on the ball, and he hits the target, doesn't he? With his shots and his headers, and he's a very, very important striker.
His finishing, there's very few players that we've had. I mean, we had Marcus Stewart last week, terrific finisher. But you can't remember too many better since Marcus Stewart than Connor Chaplin, can you? Really?
His strike on the ball's terrific.
Yeah.
With both feet.
Yeah.
And he's very, very quick. So a little half chance for somebody else is like a full chance for him. Very good.
But I think, looking at the games that we've played, the Sunderland game seemed a bit like that. We were the better team. It's not like we've dominated for 90 minutes. It's always been a tough game. The Championship is relentless. The minute you think you've cracked it, there's some decent teams out there. But we've come away worthy winners.
Yeah, the other thing I thought about that game was, if you go back to the first game of the season against Sunderland, they dominated possession in that game. Yeah. We looked very dangerous in that game and had and obviously won 2-1, but they were in control of that game for long spells, weren't they? Well, that wasn't really the same, was it, last week? I think that shows how much we've grown over the course of the season.
I think every game we play now, Phil, when we're playing teams for the second time round this season, they all know more about us. They know more about us through all of the games we've played, not just the games we've played against them early on in the season. So there's a compilation now of all our goals, all our set pieces, all the good things that we do, all the bad things that we do. And people sift through that from top to bottom, and they don't miss a trick these days. All the analysts are there, and they go through everything like a fine-tooth comb, and it'll get tough this season.
That's a big job now. That's totally different. In the old days, it'll be the manager and the coaches watching the videos, wouldn't it, about the other teams? Whereas now, the analysts can pick up any cross from the right, from the left, any set piece, and they do all that work and then produce it for the manager, who just sits through the bits that he wants to see.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Brian Hamilton the other week. Well, he spoke to me, because I didn't. You can't get a word in edgeways, but he spoke to me. I did ask him how many. He said to me, "Do you know how many analysts there are at the football club, Ipswich?" I was like, 15, 20. He says 54. 54 analysts. But, I mean, Brian, initially it was 24, then went up to 54. You know how long Brian can talk. That was 54. But they had a picture of the staff. They had the players and the kit and everything else like that, and then the staff. It nearly, when you actually, just taken from the stand, when you actually look at it, it's nearly as wide as the width of the other stand. It's
18-yard box to 18-yard box.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm going to say as well, if you look at the dugouts, because we're right above the dugouts, they have the laptops. Every team has at least 2 laptops there. And whenever something happens in play, the manager and the coaches, the head coach, whoever it is, will come and have a look at the replay, replay it and all that sort of thing. I thought, many years ago it wasn't allowed, was it? So now it is allowed. But it is, I think that's a contentious point, because when they go and look at the monitors, the fourth official then can possibly become a major target, because if the referee's got the decision wrong.
Would he be you, Butch, if you were managing today?
Just going to say the same question.
Yeah. I would have lost a laptop somewhere, I will tell you.
Flying laptop.
Yeah, you might have disappeared up something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a new part of the game, and it's something that Town have taken on to their advantage as well and used it very well.
I mean, the setup is Premier League setup now, isn't it? Well, you see it, Mills, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's what they've tried to do, and I think when Kieran McKenna came in, I think it was a great opportunity for him, because it was his first big job. And then they've given him absolutely everything that he's wanted. And bearing in mind, he spent time at Tottenham and Man United. He knows what he wants. He's seen everything that they do. And in Division 1, we did a level of what they do. We've gone to the Championship. He's now doing another level. And, they've got this, the old golf buggy. Where when you were there, Dick used to drive the old golf buggy, didn't he, with the bag of balls and put the balls around the training ground. They've got a golf buggy with a television screen bigger than that on it now. So the screen is used in training now. So when they're going onto their set pieces, you walk off, you get a drink, you watch this, an analyst shows you that, then you go back and do it. So technology has made a
I could just imagine Paul Mariner in that buggy. I'll tell you now. The police cars would be chasing that.
Did you see the Bristol City game midweek?
No, I didn't.
I mean, Liam Manning.
Yeah,
he was in charge of the under-16s when I was doing the under-18s. So Liam's a very good coach. If he gets the same backing of Bristol City that Kieran McKenna's had at Ipswich, not only from the club as far as the finances is concerned, but the support as well, because they're a bit fickle, the Bristol City crowd there. If he gets the support and the financial backing from the club, they will go somewhere quick under him.
Yeah, very,
He's
very
doing
bright.
very well. They played with a lot of aggression the other night as well.
And Hoggy's with him as well, isn't he? Chris Hogg, another player that was here. I know that George goes up there sort of when he can to watch because it's his son-in-law. And that's what they're looking at. You know, Liam Manning came to the football club as probably a 13, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, and worked his way through to the academy, probably signed a 2-year scholarship from 16 to 18, but never quite made it. And has gone straight into that coaching role under probably Brian Clew at the time. Has started coaching with the academies and has worked his way through and is now, like you say, carving out a career for himself and you know, bright young manager.
But he needs the support that you're talking about that Kieran's
got to have it.
Kieran's is basically what he's asked for, he's got.
Yeah.
And they've said, you know, whilst everything's going in the right direction, you keep asking.
It's also who. You look at his backroom staff, that's his staff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is, so they give you the finance that the club are spending to bring in the players that they're getting, but also to bring in the facilities, the training grounds upgraded, the pitches upgraded, the stadiums upgraded, then all the technology and all the analyst stuff. But also, I want that goalkeeping coach, and I want that coach, and I want that guy.
I just love going early to the ground and watching the sprinklers. It's great. It's a great show, by the way. I advise people to go and watch it because we've never had
It's like the
that.
Bellagio in Las Vegas, isn't it? You just need some lights and some music, and up they go. Yeah,
it's amazing. They move around as well and all that sort of thing. It's brilliant. Yeah.
they're quite entertaining because they do
just see people
catch
getting in
out.
early.
We stand on the centre line and we know exactly where they're going to go.
You don't have a
so we worked it out.
sweepstake as to who's going to get wet first. Do you? And things like that. That'd be good.
Who are we playing next, everybody?
Leicester City.
Leicester City
on Monday. Monday night.
What do we think, boys?
I'm going to that game. That's a tough game. I mean, I would sit here right now and say, go there, don't get beat, come away with a point away from home, which obviously stops them going a couple of points ahead, and putting in again. I mean, how many times are we on telly this year? It's unbelievable, and good performances on telly as well. Because there was a few years where we didn't do
That
well
makes
on
a
the
change,
telly.
yeah,
I know
that makes a change.
we didn't want the telly games,
You
didn't we?
remember BBC One, Butch, don't you?
Yeah, moving on, Mark. Moving on. Now, yeah.
But they're a good side, and you know, at this moment in time, you can't argue they're the best side in the league. They've had a great start. The managers come in and you know kept them going, and the fact that we are nestled in between the three teams that came down with the biggest budgets in the league is testament to what the club is doing.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, really. And and they've actually got one or two injury worries ahead of the game on Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who was a key man for them.
That's a great name, isn't it?
I know.
Dewsbury Hall.
I know.
Yeah.
And I mean, he picked up a knock in their last game. Although you wonder whether managers do say this.
Is that when
don't
they got beat by Coventry?
They got beaten 3-1 by Coventry, and didn't look all that in that game. So then, you know, they're not kind of unbeatable. I think that's fair to say. No, we did well against them, didn't we?
Second half was very good.
Second half, I thought we were better side, weren't we? So they've got sort of players away at the Africa Cup of Nations and at the Asia Cup. And they've got Ndidi is sidelined until April. So you know, there's one or two little kind of. It happens this time of year, doesn't it? You lose players, whoever you are. We've lost one or two players. They've lost one or two players.
It's
So
a big club, aren't they? You know,
massive
club.
Yeah. Do you keep much of an
Premier
eye on
League
them, Russ? Obviously a former player of theirs.
Yeah, I still watch them. Speak to a couple of the ex-players. Steve Walsh, good friend of mine, big strong centre half. He was
Talking of red cards.
he would fit nicely on this sofa.
God, would he? You won't get past them three.
No, I tell you what, he was a good lad. He's a fun boy, but tough as nails. God, blimey.
But I don't think there's anything to fear. I haven't seen the second half and seen them at Coventry. I don't think there's anything to fear. And I think Town will go there and play the way they can play. And I'm confident. I think we won't get beaten, so I'm very confident.
We take that right now.
Yeah, I mean the chasing pack were creeping up on us, but that win against Sunderland just pushed us back, didn't it?
Is it not like last year?
It is exactly like
Connor
last year.
Chaplin said they weren't worried at all. They were still drawing games, not losing them.
Yeah.
And I think it's exactly the same this year. It seems like they've taken a bit of a breather.
There's
a bit like you, Milt's gone on the cruise. They've gone on the cruise and come back.
There's also something that you get from winning and being successful. There's a togetherness, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? You can see that squad. And that comes from the manager. He's created this, and the coaching staff. They've created this togetherness. They've got people coming in the team, people coming out of the team. He finds a way. The hardest thing is, as a manager, is to keep the players who are not playing motivated. And he does that really well. He obviously includes them all in training. I think they've been away as well for a little trip, and he looks after absolutely everyone.
They went on the cruise with you, were they?
No. I tried to get away from everyone. Yeah. But can
we
I
missed
just
a sponsorship opportunity here actually tonight, haven't we? With all this talk of a cruise,
we've got Fred Olsen. I've seen you got Fred Olsen.
Yeah, we could have had you sponsored by whatever cruise lines you were on.
It wasn't Fred Olsen you were on.
No. Celebrity, obviously. But you mentioned the African Cup of Nations.
Name on the floor there.
Ghana play tonight.
They do, yeah.
Ghana play tonight, and they lost their first game. They're playing Egypt tonight, and then, my God, they've got to win. And did you see that Chris Hughton is the current manager of Ghana, and he got attacked after the first game that they lost?
Really?
Yeah,
not surprising.
Yeah, I know it is. This African Cup of Nations. Honestly, you watch the football in Africa. Oh my word!
Well, he didn't have a good build up to the tournament, really. No, he had a poor build-up, and it's just carried on, sort of thing. But
I know, but this African football, when you go and watch it, it is ridiculous. You think, fans everywhere, they're just absolutely crazy.
I mean, do you take in much? We'll talk about the charity now. Tell us about that first. And do you take in much of the football over there? Many games?
Yeah, I tried. There's in Accra. The main team was the Hearts of Oak. Do you remember Kim Grant played for Charlton, striker? Yeah. He was the manager, so we used to go and watch him, go and sit in the dressing room. And they're strong, athletic. These players are built. The pitches are not very good. The games are frenetic. There doesn't seem to be anybody who can put their foot on it, and calm it down. But exciting, absolutely exciting. And obviously I wanted Chris to do well. He was the director of football for a while and then took over as the manager. But they don't hang about if you're not doing well over there. But
so we might not necessarily think about watching that tournament, but you would recommend for various reasons.
You've got to watch
it.
Yeah.
It's an exciting tournament.
Yeah,
I covered it for about 10 years with Eurosport, and to say the pitches aren't very good is an understatement. They are hard, they're bouncy, they're bobbly. It's hot conditions, so the ball's lively, and it is just a case of just get after it. But you see some amazing goals out there as well, and some horrendous mistakes too.
And how's the charity work going? Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, no, the charity is great. And I'm not sure if you're aware that Mr. Butcher is a patron for our charity and has been to Ghana and seen it in action right at the start when we first started it all up. And it's gone, it's gone tenfold since then.
Along with Titus Brambles.
Titus is out in Abu Dhabi at the moment, so we've not seen him in Ghana for a while. A difference between Ghana and Abu Dhabi, trying to get him over the country, it's not quite as easy, Terry, as it used to be.
No, I mean, when we were there, you never saw him much. He was in the Sky Bar, wasn't he? There's a famous bar in
He's on the golf course a lot now, isn't he?
Yeah, well, there's a friend of mine at the back, another Phil. He's been to Sky Bar. He's been over, and I've got 22 volunteers coming out first couple of weeks in March who are going to work in the schools, work with the kids.
Doing what sort of things?
So the majority of them are just going to be like teachers' assistants, football coaches. So they come and work in our schools. We've got 6 schools. We reach about 5,000 kids. But in a 10-day sort of trip, we'll do all sorts with them. We'll take them to Cape Coast. So see about the culture, talk about the slave trade, how it started all those years ago. Ghana's a really, really friendly country. The temperature is normally around a muggy sort of 30 degrees. But it's an absolutely fantastic country. The people are, amazing. And what we're trying to do, because of my background in football, people think I'm out there looking for footballers, and Ghanaians love football. So we use the power of sport to get more people, to get more kids to the sports sessions we put in the morning and stay at school. So it's actually trying to get more kids into education, because if they don't get educated, then they don't break the cycle of what they do. But it is the most friendly country. Like I said, we go out there, I'm out there 4 or 5 times a week, a year, 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So probably sort of 3.5 months a year in Ghana. I'm now booking that between the Ipswich Town games that are at home, obviously. But it's just an amazing experience, and anybody who's been out will say.
Well, we went to a tournament, didn't we? You held a tournament every year.
Festival.
Had a festival, and they were really competitive, and it was great to watch and everything else like that. So they were really competitive at the football, and then the music used to come on between the games, and everybody in the crowd danced, even the referees. They were all dancing. They all loved to dance. It was amazing. We had to dance because we felt out of place.
People have been talking about the atmosphere at Portman Road lately. Perhaps we ought to introduce that maybe at half time.
Yeah, I don't see.
Everybody danced.
I think we stuck out a bit, Terry, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Me, you, and Gary.
Yeah,
my boss.
Dancing under the sprinklers.
No, there's no sprinklers out there. No.
We hire so the capital of Ghana is Accra. We've got one school in Accra. The main port is 25 kilometres away, called Tema, and there's a Tema stadium that we use, and the pitch is a bit like this, to be honest. It's the oldest AstroTurf, a bit like the one at Portman.
Don't insult our AstroTurf.
No, I don't mean that. Yeah, I was looking at the lines.
It's only been here half an hour.
Yeah, but but it's the only one. And we had the festival there, and for some of these kids, it's the first time they've ever played on AstroTurf. And then we get kit donated from obviously our football club, Arsenal and Brighton. Get to the end of the season, got loads and loads of kit that they haven't sold, and they want to donate it to charities. Give it to me, I ship it out to Ghana. So you see kids running around in Ipswich Town shirts But yeah, it is. It's a fantastic thing to be able to do. Probably at this stage of my career, because you really begin to understand how much you get out of it, they get out of it. When I'm taking people like Phil, who came last time, you can see what the kids get out of it, because we totally refurbished one of our school blocks. But you actually then sit down with Phil, and he talks about what he got out of it personally, because these kids have got nothing, but they're so happy because they don't miss anything. Yeah, they're not worried about their iPad at home because they haven't got one. They've never had one, and they'll never get one. So all they want to do is be outside every day, and the temperature is lovely every day. So they go to school, and school has become like their sanctuary. Whereas in this country, the school bell goes, they're gone. There, the school bell goes, we're still there. They're still hanging around because it's the best place they go to. And they wear their school uniform, and they get fed there twice a day, which again is massive. So yeah, it's very inspirational.
Well, it's great work that you do, isn't it, everybody? Fantastic.
No,
brilliant. Let's talk about you and your town history. How did it start?
It started with it started with a game. I was playing for Bury Town at the time. I mean, I played non-league football. I moved from London to Thetford when I was 13. I played for Thetford Rovers. I played for Thetford Town. Then I went to Bury Town. And Bury Town were a good team at that stage. And we played Ipswich Town reserves in a pre-season friendly. And I did okay. And Bobby Ferguson offered me the chance to come and trial. I think that was the first time I ever met Terry Butcher. We played a game against West Ham, and I scored. And then I got taken off, because probably I wasn't at the fitness levels for about an hour, and I scored. And we come in afterwards, and you probably won't remember this because I was just some kid, but you said to me, well, if you keep scoring like that, son, they'll sell you. They won't sign you.
You're right, because I don't remember it. No. But that's the only thing I got right in my career.
But then towards the end of that season, Bobby Ferguson, right, next season we'll offer you a contract. And then he got a sack. So probably because he was offering me a contract. But then Charlie Woods was coach at the time, and we waited and waited and waited. John Duncan came in as the manager, and Charlie Woods put my case across saying that I trialled, and I think I was cheap. So let's give him a year.
What was the fee? What was the fee?
No, $5,000. $5,000, yeah.
That's cheap.
So I think they got their money's worth. I remember Ian Marshall. When Ian Marshall was a character, proper character. Do you know what I mean? And yeah. When he heard, he didn't know. He heard that I cost $5,000. That's that. He used to come in every single day. Wait, $5,000, come over here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So
Tough school.
yeah, and it was a tough school, and coming, I'm 23 years old, going into a dressing room with people like Jason Dezelle and Mickey Stockwell and Frankie Yallop, who I'm older than, and they got 100 games under their belt before. So you've got to show something. You've got to show that you can play at this level. You're the boy from non-league, and I went out on loan a couple of times, Torquay and Exeter, came back, played about the last 8-10 games of that first season under John Duncan, and then got my second contract, and then you're going again. But once you've come out of non-league to a professional club, you don't want to go back.
Did you ever think that you would make it?
No. At times you had doubts. I think I had doubts, when you're not playing and you're desperately trying to get in the team. But it's almost like you go from a non-league team where you feel you're a decent player, and then you go into the training sessions with these levels and go, oh my God, I thought there were some decent players around, but everybody is fit and strong and good players. But I think you've got to work out what you're good at, and also I believed they're looking at your character as well. Well,
it sort of made you hungrier.
Yeah.
If the players that are in have got contracts, but when you came in. So what did you do before when you were 23 when you came in?
So I was working for a company, an engineering company. I was spraying these big cherry pickers, and then I worked for a guy who owned Bury Town Football Club. And because the company I was working for, it was really difficult to get away on. They wanted me to work Saturday morning, and obviously the game, Bury Town. So he said, listen, I'll pay you, come and work for us. And, in the end, it all worked out. But because of coming through that different way, not come through the academies, do you know what I mean? Not being...
But suddenly having to do it full time, Mills, is a big impact on your body as well.
Massive.
It's not turning up on a Tuesday night, Thursday night just to do training.
Yeah.
You're doing it Monday all day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the quality of people that you're looking at, you're thinking, blimey, every day these boys are at it.
Yeah, and I love training. I trained hard, and I had to train hard. It was something that straight away I came in, I trained hard. Some players, drift through training, don't they? Yeah. But I trained hard, and that was the way that I think made a difference to me. And then you got to find a way to get in a team.
Yeah, you should have done what Walkie did, just train on a Friday.
Mate, listen. Well, you can imagine when I come back and Walkie come and played in our team. Bob Geldof, we called him, because he didn't like Mondays. He never trained on a Monday. George Burney, when George was the manager at the end, he'd say, Walkie, you training today? And Walkie go, what are you doing? He goes, well, we're going to start with a run. He goes, stop you there. If he said we're having a five-a-side, or we're going to have a bit of head tennis, I mean, we're talking about a guy that had an unbelievable career with you guys, and then had an unbelievable career with like me and Stockers and Jason and Chris Kiwomya. Yeah. Just amazing. But training for me, went up a level, get as fit as I can, and how do I get myself in that team? And I played in midfield, and, I will play on the left, I'd play on the right, I'd play in the middle, and I'd play wherever the manager wanted me to. If he said, go and play on the left today, no problem. And you just get yourself in that team and do a job and become an important member of the squad, really.
You went on, of course, to have great success, didn't you, with Ipswich Town? A certain team that got promotion to the Premier League. Yeah. What was that like?
You've had Jason. It was just amazing. If I look at our team, we didn't have any superstars. We didn't have the biggest budget, but we had the best manager. John Lyle was the best manager in that league. Forget the rest. He was the best. He came in, he totally transformed what we were doing, how we would play. He was open and honest with you. He'd come and sit down. He was super smart. Do you know what I mean? You go to John with a contract negotiation thinking, I've done well here, I'm going to get a rise. And then you walk out going, God, I'm lucky to be here. It was
a bit like that with Bobby Robson.
Bobby Robson, there. But he transformed our team. And the icing on the cake that we had, if you think of, people like me and Stockers and Neil Thompson and Frank Yallop and Linnigan and, all the Gavin Johnson, all hard-working players who were, doing their bit. And then we had Dezelle and Kiwomya. Right, and Dezelle and Kiwomya were the icing on the cake for our team. But they needed pushing. Do you know what I mean? Both of them. They needed, you know, and the manager would say that Milt's getting to Doz, or Milt's getting to Lino. He called him Lino, and you would go and talk to these players and go, listen, if you two are on it today, we win today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you must have done. You know, you just lived in these guys, and they were on it. They were on it that season, and you know, we're all on it that season, and to go up and win and be champions of the league, the second division, and get promoted to the brand new Premiership. Well, you know, there was never a better time.
You had that season. You only had 2 losses in the first 12 in all competitions. So you started really well. Then October to November, you didn't have any win in 9. It was a nightmare. But the last 22 games, you won 14, drew 5, and only lost 3. So you timed like Town did last year. You timed your run really, really well.
I remember the manager. You know, I remember having a really settled side, and John Lyle had come in and he'd say same team, same subs. So. And we used to take one extra player. Do you remember David Gregory? Then Neil Gregory. So David Gregory would be the spare man. So if somebody got ill, he would be the person. So he'd always travel with. But the spare man would also cook the food.
Yeah.
Right? So on the coach.
In the microwave.
Do you know what I mean? So he'd go like this. So I remember John Lyle said, this is the 6th time I've said this on the trot. Same team, same subs. And he went, same chef. But we had such a great group of lads. Again, you know, all of those players believed in what John Lyle was doing. You know, he enhanced everybody's career, and he just treated you well. And he had we had Mick McGivern with him, and Mick McGivern was no fun whatsoever.
I used to have to interview Mick McGivern, and it was very hard. Yeah. So goodness knows what it was like to work with him. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, in all the years I've seen him afterwards and all that, he was at Chelsea for years. I bump into him just a night, but when he was your first team coach, my God, he was a dour man. You know, and John was the character. John was the lively one, and obviously he kept Charlie with him at all times. You know what Charlie was like, and it was it was tough. I mean, I look at, you know, when I first joined the club, it was tough. I was scared of Charlie Woods. You were scared of Bobby Ferguson.
Scared of Charlie Woods?
I was scared of Charlie Woods. Yeah, because
but he's not very big, Charlie.
No, I know, but I think that I'm scared of them because I think this person or these people have got my career.
Yeah, well, that's what Fergie was like, wasn't it? On the Bobby Robson when he was first team coach. Oh, crikey! The number of times you get locked in the referee's room and had head to head with him. Jeez.
But Fergie would hit you.
Yeah,
he would hit you with a squash racket, with anything. He'd hit you.
Yeah, if I'm scared of Charlie, imagine what. But Fergie offered me a contract, then left basically. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really play that much under Bobby Ferguson. But yeah, during that time, you know, they're great friends now. As you say, we got the ex-players dinner coming up. You see them all. Do you know what I mean? And it's been great to, you know, to see as many come back. You can never take that time away.
Because it was like the season. It's a strange season because it was a season where the next season was the Premier League, and you could see all clubs trying to get into that. They wanted to be part of that, and you know, that great run you had at the end of the season got you into the Premier League. Yeah. You know, that was another level sort of thing. And did your pay go up after that, or did it?
Yeah. It went up, not as much as some, but it certainly helped. And then we got 3 years later when we got relegated, it went down again. Yeah. Don't worry about that. Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, I was saying about Blackburn, but you know, under Kenny Dalglish, spending money, and you and they were top of the league, weren't they? And then you just kind of inexorably kind of reeled them in and overtook them.
If you think about Blackburn, you know, Jack Walker was the first owner-chairman to buy his way into, you know, heavily invest into football. So he bought his way out of the league that we're in.
Sherwood, those boys.
And then bought the team that won the Premier League. Didn't he? Like the first one really that he was the Abramovich of his time, wasn't he? You know, and he had a vision, but he was, you know, the thing about his story was, he was from Blackburn, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? And he'd made all his money in that area and wanted his team to do well.
So the Premier League then?
Premier League was
whole
tough.
New game.
Yeah, so tough. when you know, all of a sudden you look in and you'll go into Anfield, or you'll go in, not like these guys going every week and winning. Do you know what I mean? We were going out and hanging on, but we had a really good start, didn't we? We had a really good start, again, because you're an unknown quantity, but like us this year.
Yeah.
So that in that Premier League, the inaugural Premier League, was Norwich. Yeah, they're on fire.
Well done.
They're on fire this week. They're on fire. Blackburn, of course. QPR, Sheffield Wednesday, Wimbledon, Coventry, Leeds, Southampton, Middlesbrough, and Oldham. Now, would you believe Oldham were in the Premier League?
Yeah.
The first Premier League. Yeah.
That's there's some big clubs there who are not in there anymore.
Oldham were actually the first team to beat Ipswich in the Premier League, weren't they?
Yeah, there's some crap teams in there as well, but there we are.
Wimbledon, which we just recently played. But no, the Premier League it went up a whole new level, didn't it? With the Sky Sports and everything going up.
Did anything change at the club? Did it? Was it? Could you notice the change of that level?
Yeah, I mean, but what's weird was I remember playing in the Premier League and there was a buzz about the place. It's not like this. This now is just, you know, I think because
it's a different level, isn't it?
It's just crazy now. Just because there's so much more access, so much more information going out, and that, you know, imagine in 1992, someone saying, right, when you come out for the tunnel, we're going to put some fireworks out there. Do you know what I mean?
That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Can't believe it, can you? You know, imagine these guys when they're coming back with the FA Cup. Imagine we won the FA Cup now. We'd be doing laps and laps of Suffolk, couldn't we?
I can just see Gatesy crapping himself. To be honest, he wouldn't know what's going on.
But so what's happened is the entertainment business has taken over, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And the players' profiles have grown, and people have come in, and there's more women and families and children going to games than there was in our day. You know, if you look on the pitch when 1992, when we've beaten Brighton on the last game, you look at the fans on the pitch. It's all men. Do you know what I mean? It's all men. They're all. It was more
overcoat and flat cap.
Yeah. That was flat cap. That was 61, 62. When they're carrying Ray Crawford off.
Everybody wearing a tie to go to the football.
That's how it's changed.
Well, I'll tell you what, Milts, it's time to see whether you've still got it or not.
Your skills.
The time has come for this week's Keepy-up challenge, sponsored by our friends at Ginger Pickle. So, there's your ball, Milts. There's your ball, okay. I think you've got Phil Ham in your sights. What have you got, Phil? What was your score now? Just remind us.
It's 75.
No, 6, wasn't it? 6 for Phil Ham.
6,
top of the leaderboard is
three more to
James Scowcroft, 79. Chambo, 59. Alan Lee, 58. So, what you have, Milts, you have 60 seconds. Phil will blow the whistle. Terry will time. Start when you like once the whistle's blown, but once the ball drops to the ground, that's it, so you only get one crack at it. Okay? And the capacity crowd are going to come forward and count, aren't you, everybody? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Thank you. When we're ready, boys, here we go. This could be a big one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 40,
Oh, unbelievable. Well done.
A few numbers there, weren't there?
Fantastic. We might have to VAR that, but we think it's about 74-ish. Is that what we think? About
79, yeah.
Oh,
so it was. I mean, you actually fell away when you used your left foot, didn't you? I mean, let's be honest about it.
No, I'm thinking of the time, trying to get as many in quickly, and just
Did you ever
There's
score?
no need to run.
Did you ever score with your left foot? Obviously not. Did you,
Let's get some videos up. shall we?
Well, if anybody's watching and wants to just slow-mo that and do a proper count for us between now and next week, that would be gratefully received. But for the moment, 74nd on the leaderboard.
Don't ask me anything for a minute.
Who does that knock off the bottom, Phil?
Me.
Oh,
Thankfully.
Phil,
I
you're
think
off,
I
It was after Phil as well.
Can we point out that West Suffolk is doing very well there with Scully top, you second, Alan Lee now fourth. So yeah.
We've now got to rub the whole of the board out now.
Yeah.
Start again, yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's worth it. Well
Sorry
done.
about that.
Catch your breath.
Chamber want to come back
that's
now.
warm me out. Is there an age thing?
No, 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 no,
Is there
no,
a
you're fine,
handicap?
you're
Is it like
fine.
a handicap? Because
No.
I'm looking at the people in the top 5.
Chamber will be on the phone. He will want to come back in again and do it again now.
And Lee Chappers, they're so young. I'm actually
No, it's very good.
proud of myself.
Very good. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, to like and subscribe the channel, please. And if you want some of our merch, some of our lovely shirts and mugs, I think I've got one down here. There we go, if you like one of those. All on the website. That's www.lifesapitch.tv. Time now for the Town News in Brief, sponsored by John Keeble Cars of Bramford with Phil Ham from twtd.co.uk.
Still not liking this hat, I have to say. But there you go.
We love it, don't we, everybody?
we love it.
Paddington Bear. Da, 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 da.
Anyway, yes, January transfer window in full swing. Made a couple of signings already, haven't we? But Town are targeting Sheffield Wednesday left-sided winger or fullback Marvin Johnson. It might be seen as a bit of a surprise move. Johnson returned to the Wednesday side in November, having been left out of the EFL squad by their former manager Xisco, but has sealed a place in new boss Danny Rolls' team. A fee of £1 million was reported, but there seems to be little likelihood of Town paying that much for a 33-year-old. It's going to be kind of, you'd have thought 100,000, something like that.
Clubs know how desperate we are, don't they? That's the issue.
I think reporters just kind of, I think that was more of a reporter just kind of conjuring a figure out of nowhere. But anyway, John, he looks to be cover for Leif Davis on the left. Best known by Town fans for elbowing Wes Burns in the game in February, and then subsequently getting a 3-match ban. I suspect to cover for Leif Davis, also perhaps to allow Cameron Humphreys to go out on loan, who's been covering that role. I know a lot of League One clubs would like him, so to play midfield really. So we'll see what happens there. That's one that's kind of developing. Striker search continuing. At the end of last week, it emerged that the Blues were chasing Blackburn's Sam Gallagher, and it's understood a number of offers in excess of £1 million have been turned down. It appeared as if the two parties were eventually going to reach an accord, but the Rovers then decided that he wasn't available after all, from what I'm told, because they haven't got a replacement lined up. Although just before the show, we saw a report linking them with Lukas Jutkovic from Birmingham City, who you'd have thought is a kind of like-for-like replacement. Gallagher, who's also interested in Stoke, is keen on the move, from what I gather. So I wouldn't rule this out being revived, although as it stands, not much was happening. Town then moved on to Kiefer Moore, former Blues striker, who's here for a year, who's available on loan from AFC Bournemouth, with a number of other clubs interested. Town signed him for £25,000 from Torquay, and then sold him a year later to Barnsley for £750,000. So not a bad profit there. But he only made 11 sub-appearances while he was here without scoring, so we didn't really see the best of him. Since then, he's become a regular in the Championship with Wigan, Cardiff and the Cherries, and has been captained 39 times by Wales, scoring 12 times. Opportunities in the Premier League have been infrequent since Bournemouth were promoted, so it seems set to move to a Championship club. Another one to kind of keep a watching brief on. Meanwhile, former Blues coach and skipper Tony Mowbray says he's hopeful that on-loan Fulham striker Jay Stansfield, another Town target, will remain at Birmingham for the rest of the season. Mowbray believes Stansfield will play more regularly at St Andrews in the second half of the campaign than he would at Town, but says the period in which the Cottagers can recall him remains open for the moment. So again, one that perhaps possibly could be some movement. And elsewhere, Cameron Burgess won his 5th full Australia cap as the Socceroos beat Syria 1-0 at the Asian Cup in Qatar earlier today. Burgess played the full 90 minutes as Australia secured their place in the round of 16. Town's other player at the tournament, Elkan Baga, is in action with Indonesia on Friday afternoon when they face Vietnam. That's the end of the news.
Thank you very much. What do you think, boys, about the targets that Phil mentioned there? Do we need a striker?
Yes.
Yeah, no,
I think we need two,
well, I
don't
think
we?
so, but
I think we need two.
just asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need two, but I don't know. It's what they do, Town, as we've alluded to before, that they do their homework very well. They'll find out if he's a good character, but mainly they have a load of stats and they go by a certain criteria. And let's be honest about it, the signings that they've made have been very, very good over the 2 years, been excellent. So, they've got a proven track record. So, in those analysts, all 54 of them, we trust.
Do we know how long Hurst is out for, roughly?
Yeah, well,
we've been given that.
Most of the rest of the season is how Kieran put it. So you're talking,
you definitely need one, and possibly.
Well, I think you need two, because if we brought in any of these, like Gallagher, and he gets injured in the first game, we're back to square one again, aren't we? So I think we definitely need two. I think Gallagher and Stansfield gives you a bit of different options, doesn't it? I think. Yeah. Kiefer Moore obviously gives you a completely different option at 6'5". Yeah. In games like the Stoke game the other week, where we were struggling to break down a team that was just sitting, making it tight in their penalty area, having a 6'5" striker there gives you an option that is quite difficult to defend against. Terry, how would you cope with a 6'5"?
But we don't really play that way.
But it gives you a bit something different. Do you know what I mean? I think you kind of need that in those circumstances.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the teams nowadays they don't even go route one. They never change. They just keep going, just change like for like, and keep playing the same way, and hope that it would eventually break a team down. But
you're talking about if Burgess was playing at the moment in the last 10 minutes of a 0-0, you stick Burgess up front. We would never do that.
Do you not think
we wouldn't stick a 6'4" fella?
I think Kieran's done it once or twice back in League One on one or two occasions with Burgess. But I don't think. This is kind of suggesting that Kiefer Moore, all he is kind of a fellow who's 6'5". I think there's more to his game than that. But it does allow you to get crosses in and have someone who's kind of beating people in the air.
Two managers here. Two managers. What's it like at this period when you're trying to get players in? Because every manager's trying to get players in. What's it like when you've got people like us speculating left, right and centre about who we want, and you're desperately trying? In Kieran we must trust, do you think?
Well, I never had any money to spend in the window, so never had that problem.
You're wheeling and dealing.
You deal in. We've always dealt sort of virtually free transfers and swaps and all this kind of thing. So you've got to have a nice bottle of whiskey available just to delve into. But nothing's really done until the last probably two days of the transfer window, and that's when everybody rushes. And that's when deals are done. So I can see it being the same with us.
I did try and get a player from Sheffield Wednesday once when I was at Bristol City. And it was coming down to the end of the January window. And I phoned the club and I wanted to speak to Trevor Francis. And I got hold of Mickey Mills, who was there. And Millsy said, Trevor's is at home, he's having a few days off. I said, oh, well, I've got some money available. I've got 250 grand to spend on a player, and I'd like a certain player that you've got. And Millsy said, well, you'll have to speak to Trevor. I said, well, can you give me Trevor's number and I'll phone him at home? No, he doesn't want to be disturbed. I said, Millsy, I'm trying to spend the only money I've ever had in my life to spend on a player, and you're saying you're not allowed to speak to him either. He says, no, I'm not supposed to call him while he's having a few days break, and that was it. They didn't want to sell a player.
Again, it's a different world now, isn't it? It's a different world. It's the recruitment team talking with the director of football, talking with the manager, and then going to Mark Ashton, and the conversations are done, and they're also done very quietly, aren't they? All the speculation, and then something happens, doesn't it? Very quickly.
Well, I think Trevor was on the sunbed, to be honest, rather than he was away.
I think he was,
He liked a bit of sunbed.
Yeah, the late Trevor.
Well, the signings last January worked really well for us, didn't they? The players that we brought in, so hopefully fingers crossed.
That's what I mean.
We'll get the same
the thing is, they did them early, didn't they? Early in the window, so they had their targets. But it's much more difficult now. It's much more difficult. So, and I don't think Kieran really wants to be burnt again, like with Scarlett sort of thing, and bringing someone in, and it doesn't quite.
It looks like we're a little bit more desperate for a certain type of player as well at the moment.
Yeah.
You look at the players that haven't worked since this ownership, and under Kieran, really. Scarlett was a deadline day signing, and then the previous year, Panucci, Kamara, that was deadline day signing. Ghassan Ahadmi, deadline day signing. So I think that it doesn't take a genius to work out they probably weren't the players that they really wanted at that point. They were the players that were available, that were of.
I think what he's done now, though, is if you are a player and you're not playing in a Premier League club and someone like Ipswich Town comes in for you now with the club the way that it is, with the reputation that the manager's building, and people in the game going, I'd go there. The guy, the lad who we signed from Brighton, very friendly with the guys at Brighton because they give me loads and loads of kit. So straight away I went, tell me about this lad. He went, great player, great lad. And I went, listen, he'll be treated well here, and he'll enjoy his football here, and it's just having that. So people are now starting to think,
reputation.
I'd go there.
And we're second.
Aren't
we? In the summer, we were a newly promoted team, and now we're second in the championship. It's a different kettle of fish.
The pitch, or the training facilities, and if, what happens in football, it's a closed shop, isn't it? So what happens is, someone's linked to someone, they know someone in our dressing room, straight away. Yeah. And they go, right, what do you think? Come, just come. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we'll see what happens over the next few days.
Yeah, so let's
time to take a look and see what's happened to Ipswich Town on this day in the past, brought to you in association with Fred Olsen Logistics.
Well, on this day, the 18th of January, we actually go back, first of all, to 1936.
No, I wasn't.
Lovely. You don't remember this one? It was in black and white. Born in Liverpool, defender Larry Carberry was spotted by Alf Ramsey playing for the King's Regiment against Bury Town.
Oh, wow.
Carberry made an immediate impression in Southwark due to his pace and superb timing. He was one of 5 players to win championship medals in all 3 divisions with Ipswich. He didn't score in his 283 appearances. Also on Saturday, the 18th of January, but this time we move up to 1969. Bobby Robson's first game in charge of Ipswich Town saw them travel to Everton and face their third-play hosts in front of 41,725 fans. In his final season, Ray Crawford scored twice while Joe Royal played up front for the Toffees in the 2-2 draw. And all that happened on the 18th of January.
Fantastic. Thank you, Russell.
That's a great work.
We have a trophy to present this evening, and the Man v Fat trophy, which I have hidden behind my Kevin Beattie cushion. Here it is. Would you like to pass that, Milts, to Terry over there, who's a big fan of our Man v Fat scores? So
That's why I didn't play in goal.
This is from Man v Fat Mark, who can't be here tonight. A terrific effort on the scales this week saw the Ipswich Man v Fat players kick off the new year with an incredible 54 kilogram weight loss. 54 kilograms. That's 86 players that they've got now. This week's results: Far From Athletic 11, Seattle Quarter Pounders 13, Pork Vale 13, LA Galaxy Bar 7, To Lose a Few Pounds 9, Man Titty 13, L'Argentina 11, Barely Athletic 11. Now, we have a trophy, as I mentioned, to hand out. And here to pick up the trophy, he's going to go over to our microphone here, is Warren Wycraft in the studio to collect the winner's shield on behalf of Pork Vale, everybody.
Well done.
Well done, Pork Vale.
We say upper porkies, is that all right? If we can get an upper porkies from everyone?
Upper Porkies.
Upper porkies! Thank you. Excellent, thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
But not only that,
Thank you.
Warren has lost, wait for this, an incredible 28 kilograms. And if you want to know what that actually is, it's 4.5 stone since he's joined last year.
Well done.
So well done.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
And you all enjoy it. It's good fun, isn't it?
It's amazing. I think it's just everyone there together. You know, we all get on, even though we're against each other as teams. You know, you've got so much support. I mean, Trav, who's with me today, he's from a different team. You know, all right down to the mental health of guys. You know, we're all there for each other, and it's amazing. It's such a great experience, and you know, it's a good cause to get your weight down. You know, and yeah, it's great. Mark's a great guy. You know, I can't take my hat off more to Mark. He's you know, helped so many guys. It's brilliant.
Well,
Warren,
I think you're all fantastic. It's brilliant.
Can you tell? Has it cost you much? Because you surely had to get a new wardrobe, didn't you?
So unfortunately for me, my town top is obviously massive. I've had to tuck it in. It's huge. It'll probably go around me twice now. So yeah, the wardrobe thing's a bit of a problem, but get to my maintainable weight, and then I'll just go on a bit of a shopping spree. So
Yeah, I just think so. Good luck with that.
Congratulations.
What does it feel to hold the trophy on behalf of you and the rest of the team?
Yeah.
it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Shame some of the other guys couldn't make it tonight. I did invite them, but yeah, lazy and got loads of excuses, obviously.
No worries. We'll give him a big round of applause, everybody. Well done.
Thank you.
Port Vale.
Up the Porkies.
Up the Porkies.
I'm not sure we can get any more in, by the way.
No.
I mean, this is busy. I've brought 3. I've brought my agent, my manager, and my minder.
Well, Phil's had 4 mentions tonight already.
Yeah. You can see him. You can see which one's the minder when he comes out of the cupboard.
What do you make of the crowd this week?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, good. Well done.
I think they're very good, and with the fact that they cheered when we mentioned Norwich before was very, very good. There we go. Yeah, on the ball. You can't say on the ball, can you? Because that's one of theirs.
No, you can't. No.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yes, move on. Big round of applause, Simon Milton.
Thank you.
That's it for this week. Don't forget, keep in touch on our socials for Life's Pitch TV. That's Facebook, Insta, and X. On YouTube, please like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Let's get some more subscribers on there. All it does is give you a little bell to tell you when the next episode is available. It doesn't cost you anything. Free to do. Life's a Pitch TV is the web address as well. www.lifesapitch.tv to buy the merch. Thanks once again to our main sponsors, DPS Tech. Also sponsored by, here we go, All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Fred Olsen Logistics, John Keeble Cars in Bramford, the Dove in St Helens Street in Ipswich, and DPS Tech also now sponsor the sofa. Thank you, capacity crowd. We're done. Up the town, everybody. Up the town. Up the Porkies.